It was close to midnight when the city finally grew quiet, when honking horns softened into distant echoes and office towers dimmed down to a sleepy glow. But on the 42nd floor of Harrington Global, the lights still burned bright. Evelyn Hart, the youngest CEO in the company's history, had just finished a 20-hour day. Her eyes stung from exhaustion, her heels pinched, and her mind throbbed with the weight of decisions that never seemed to end. She finally shut down her computer, grabbed her coat, and stepped out, only to hear the one sound she absolutely dreaded at midnight, the office door clicking shut behind her. She froze, turned the handle, twisted it again. Her heart dropped, locked. The hallway was silent, almost mocking. Her phone? Dead. Her bag? Inside. Every exit needed a key card. The key card also inside the office. For the first time in a very long time, Evelyn felt something she hated: helplessness. That moment, the silent hallway, the dead phone, the locked door, would have been enough to make anyone panic. But what made Evelyn's breath hitch was something deeper, something she'd spent years burying beneath a mountain of responsibilities and success. Because right then, she felt alone. She leaned her head against the cold glass door and whispered, "Not tonight. Please, God, not tonight." That's when she heard footsteps. Heavy, steady, approaching from the far end of the corridor. That a tall man appeared, wearing a security uniform, except not the polished type the corporate guards wore. This man looked tired, his shirt slightly wrinkled, dark circles beneath his eyes, and a backpack slung over one shoulder like he'd been rushing. His name tag read, Daniel Reyes. He stopped a few feet away, blinking in surprise. "Ma'am, are you locked out?" Evelyn straightened instantly, slipping back into the confident CEO mask. "Temporarily. I'll figure it out." Daniel raised a brow. "Well, unless you can walk through walls, I'm your only hope tonight." She almost laughed. Despite herself, he scanned his card and unlocked the office door for her. She exhaled in relief. "Thank you, seriously. You just saved my night." Daniel smiled politely. "Glad to help. Tough night. More like a tough decade," she muttered. He chuckled. Something warm softened the tension in her shoulders, but before she could step inside, a small voice called from behind Daniel. "Daddy, are you done?" "My homework's finished." A tiny head peeked around his leg, a little girl with big brown eyes and curls tied in a messy ponytail. She clutched a coloring book, her backpack half unzipped. Evelyn blinked. "You brought your daughter to work?" Daniel rubbed the back of his neck. "Yeah. My babysitter quit last minute, and I couldn't afford to lose another shift." The little girl stepped forward shyly. "Hi, I'm Mia." For the first time that night, Evelyn's heart softened in a way that surprised her. "Hi, Mia. I'm Evelyn." Mia's eyes widened. "That's a princess name." Daniel groaned playfully. "Kiddo, don't embarrass me." But Evelyn laughed. A real laugh she hadn't heard from herself in weeks. What she didn't know was that unlocking that door would unlock something far bigger in her life. And what Daniel didn't know was that the woman he had just helped, a woman who seemed to have everything, had been hiding something far heavier than a long workday. Something that would change both of their lives forever. Challenge number 1. Two worlds. And Evelyn went back into her office, plugged in her dead phone, and sank into her chair. But her mind wasn't on work anymore. It was on Daniel and the little girl waiting for him in the hallway. A single father, working nights, no babysitter, still smiling, still gentle. She admired that more than she expected. Minutes later, she stepped out again with 2 steaming cups of hot chocolate from the break room. Mia gasped when she saw them. "Is one for me?" Evelyn nodded. "Only if you promise not to tell HR." "I won't," Mia whispered dramatically. Daniel shot her a grateful look. "You didn't have to. I wanted to," she cut in softly. They sat in the quiet lobby, sipping their hot chocolate as midnight turned into 12:30 a.m. And for a moment, the CEO, the security guard, and his little girl felt like 3 people simply trying to get through life. Evelyn found herself asking questions she rarely asked anyone. "How long have you been working nights? How do you manage everything alone? Are you okay?" Daniel answered honestly, not out of pity, but out of a quiet strength she had almost forgotten existed. "I manage because I have to," he said simply. "Mia depends on me." That's enough. His words hit her harder than she expected, because she, too, had someone she once depended on, someone she lost, and she had never really healed from it. Challenge number 2. What she'd been hiding. A sudden crack of thunder rattled the windows. The city outside was swallowed by rain. Evelyn flinched. She hated storms. Daniel noticed. "You okay?" She hesitated. Her voice felt small. "Storms remind me of something I try not to remember." He didn't push. He didn't pry. He simply waited. And maybe it was the storm, or the late hour, or maybe it was the warmth of the hot chocolate in her hands, but the truth slipped out of her like a cracked dam. "My mother died in a storm," she whispered. "Car accident. We were supposed to go together. I stayed behind because of work." She paused, swallowing hard. "And I've never forgiven myself." The silence that followed wasn't heavy. It was understanding. Daniel's eyes softened. Loss doesn't go away because you're strong. It goes away because someone stands with you while you face it. No one had ever said something like that to her. Ever. Mia crawled onto the seat beside Evelyn and gently held her hand. That tiny hand, warm, soft, innocent, broke something inside Evelyn she hadn't realized was still hurting. Tears slipped down her cheeks. But for the first time, they weren't tears of guilt. They were tears of release. Challenge number 3. Daniel's secret instinct. The next day, Evelyn couldn't stop thinking about them. She found herself bringing small things, snacks for Mia, better coffee for Daniel, a lighter workload for the night shift. She told herself it was kindness, but it was more. She liked who she was around them. Real, human, unpolished. One night, however, she found Daniel sitting alone in the lobby, head in his hands. His uniform was damp, like he had run through rain. Evelyn approached quietly. "Daniel." He looked up, eyes red. I think I'm going to lose my apartment. Rent went up again." Her heart clenched. "What about Mia?" He shook his head. "I'll figure something out. I always do." But this time, he looked defeated, like a man who had stretched himself too thin for too long. Evelyn sat beside him. "You don't have to do this alone." He laughed bitterly. "I don't have a choice." "Yes, you do," she insisted softly. Daniel looked at her, really looked, and realized something. This woman wasn't just a CEO. She wasn't just someone who lived in a world of glass offices and executive decisions. She understood pain. She understood loneliness. She understood responsibility. And he realized he trusted her. More than he should. More than he expected. The turning point. What they found in each teacher weeks passed. They became something like a strange, delicate little trio. The lonely CEO, the exhausted single dad, and the bright little girl who glued them together with her laughter. Evelyn offered Daniel a promotion. Day shift, better paid. He refused at first. "I don't want charity," he said firmly. "It's not charity," she replied. "It's recognition." He accepted, slowly, gently, beautifully. Their worlds stitched together. Mia adored Evelyn. Daniel admired her compassion. Evelyn cherished the warmth they brought into her cold, quiet life. She stopped working late, stopped eating alone, stopped carrying her grief like a punishment. But the final healing came unexpectedly. One evening, during another storm, the thunder boomed, lightning cracked, and Evelyn froze again, trembling. Without a word, Daniel took her hand, not to comfort her, but to stand with her, like he promised. And for the first time in years, she didn't fall apart. She didn't feel alone. She didn't feel guilt. She felt held, safe. Home. The inspiring image. People think strength comes from standing alone. But real strength, true healing, comes from letting others in. Evelyn helped Daniel rebuild his life. Daniel helped Evelyn heal wounds she hid behind success. And Mia reminded them both what hope looked like. 3 broken pieces found each other and became whole. Call to action for your channel. Be kind always. Speech balloon. If this story touched your heart, please comment below. What part of the story inspired you the most? Thumbs up. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Be Kind Always, where every story reminds us that kindness can change a life. Glowing star, your support helps this channel grow and spreads more inspiring stories to the world.